Hello again. It's Dan Lutz here on another broadcast. Today is Friday for me, April 19th, and this is going to be another one of those interesting days. We have been working with the people in Hawaii, different groups, very interesting events unfolding. Bigger and bigger groups coming together. So I would like to say that I put out a two-part video series yesterday in conversations with some of the Hawaiian leaders there. And the first part is really more about, the situation from the side of the trust and how things are laid out. The second part is about the projects that came out of the conversation that are very illuminating, I would say, for direction to head. So I encourage you to go take a look at both of those. Again, if you just want to find out about the projects, I know you heard everything about the trust side and setting up with the projects and how things came about. You could avoid part one and just go to part two. They're each about 30 minutes apiece. So just go ahead and check that out. I would say those meetings are going to blossom. So in regards to the project, let me discuss a little bit about what's happened in Hawaii. As a very broad, a very quick rundown, is that the sugar barons back about 100 years ago decided they were going to take over Hawaii. They got the U.S. Congress to go along on fraudulent information. The Queen tried to stop it and went to Washington, D.C., and they said, "Oh, we're sorry. You're like 2 hours late. We're already going to take over your country," basically. There was a system in place prior to that that the King Kamehameha had put in place to allow for foreign ownership of up to 1/3 of the land in Hawaii. There was also provisions for 1/3 for the people of Hawaii, the native indigenous people of Hawaii, and then 1/3 for the kingdom. Now, that was the plan in order to, what he saw coming out on the horizon was the foreigners' greed to want to own the land, that he would appease that. Well, there is no appeasing greed. It's the point of greed is that it can't be appeased. It's all consuming. So that's, the system that was put into place. But along the way, the people there that had family had been given patent land title. I'm sorry, not title. Patent deeds of the land for their family, and many of the people there committed their land for 99-year leases. And so he was the gentleman I was speaking with had spoke. I basically spoke about someone he was helping. They had the current land had airport on it and malls, and the leases came to an end in the 1980s. Well, wouldn't you think that they should be able to release the land? Well, court battles ensued, and of course the Hawaiian people have no money to fight these kind of battles, and so they were given out of 7,000 acres 400 that were not those prime pieces, obviously, right? But this is not right. The land belongs to them, and they have the rights to it. So I said, sounds like a project to me that they would be able to, use funds from the trust as a project to fight that legal battle, to get the best, and go ahead and assert their ownership over the land. So anyway, that was why it's a pretty fascinating situation when you dig in. Now they're going to have to figure it out, but if you have some capital behind you, that will definitely help. All right, so I imagine we're going to be seeing a lot more of these type of projects coming out of Hawaii. All right, okay, so next topic, the Mueller report. Mr. Mueller has put out his report, and then Barr has released it with some minor redactions. I'm 100% confident that this is a very well orchestrated plan, basically a Q plan. That this is part of how things are to be revealed. Even keeping Rod Rosenstein on and Mueller is also part of the Justice Department. And I'm sure that Mueller is going to appear in front of Congress, right? Because they're going to want to ask questions. But they're trying to save their own butts. Rod Rosenstein offered to wear a wire to record the president and to oust him with, I guess it's Amendment 25. It was to allow them to go in for incompetence, mental incompetence. So if you saw the Barr's press conference yesterday, and Rod Rosenstein standing next to him, the guy looks so uncomfortable. He did not want to be there. He was definitely in another world while standing there. He looked like deer in the headlights. He was sweating. Q says optics are important. Well, it's good that Rod Rosenstein is there. I'm looking because I've been acquainted with everything that's been going on in Q, and all of the shout outs to Rod Rosenstein along the way, and what's been going on, and the picture that's painted there doesn't put Rod in a very good light. I actually started to work on a video based upon that conference yesterday, a little comic relief, I would say, or I'm zoomed in on Rod and adding comments as Barr is speaking, but I'm focused right on on Rod Rosenstein. You can see when he gulps, eyes darting around when things are said. It's interesting to watch. Anyway, this is going to be some fun times in regards to what's happening on that front. We're going to see now. This is the offense is now in full swing, and we're going to see this is going to unfold in ways that no one could anticipate. Now, what is tied into this with the redacted parts are parts related to why Julian Assange was trying to protect sources, also inquiring about Seth Rich and how Seth Rich is dead. So there is information that's going to be leading to where did the Russian hack on the DNC server occur? Where was that? When was that? Or was that? Maybe it wasn't. And so if there was no Russian attack on the DNC server and it was Seth Rich, what was the information he removed from there? Why did he end up dead? And Julian Assange can basically point to that information on the server. And this is the door that's opening with this Mueller report. And I think it's really set up in such a way to get people to ask about certain redactions. Here's the redactions. Now, they're going to release a few of these out that are unredacted, or they're going to make them available to some of the congressmen because, they're demanding it. But watch out what you demand, because you may just get it. And what's in there is breadcrumbs to the trail of Julian Assange and Seth Rich. This basically opens up Uranium One. This opens up Russian collusion with Hillary, Ukrainian collusion with Hillary. So this is amazing to see how it's unfolding. So I will basically anticipate seeing a lot more about this. I only got a couple of the reports. I just watched the X22 report. I highly recommend you subscribe to the X22 report. That always very good information, as well as IPOT, In Pursuit of Truth. Those two channels are I think, really give good heads up on things that are coming down the line. The X22 report has a real focus on the Federal Reserve, on the changing of the financial system. And that's kind of what we're focused on here and talking about, the Manna World Holding Trust and those things. I would say that I have not spoken to Tank today. I did speak with him before I went to bed last night. So there are things that are happening. I'm going to wait for Tank to get on to say what they are. It is a little late. usually jumped on by now. So I don't. I guess he might be tied up in something, but that's okay. We will keep going. I'll send the link to Tui. So Tui, be prepared. If you're ready to come on, you can jump on. There. And so a couple other things going on. There are others that have been in contact with, say, the Kingdom of Manna, that have been contacting me through email and Telegram, and they're a bit confused about the situation because they're claiming exclusivity with Kim. I am not exclusive with Kim. Tank is with Kim. Thomas Williams is with Kim. Both have their organizations, the People's Club and then Go Camelot / Create Change with Tank. So I'm not claiming to be a representative. All I'm doing is I'm working with Tank the best way that I can to help get out the information. I've also been helpful to people here in the Philippines and Hawaii. I've tried to, help where I can. So the when they basically want to, say that I have nothing to do. Tank definitely does, but I have nothing. I don't have anything. I don't have any official positions. I am very supportive of the Manna World Holding Trust and Kim, and very thankful that because I 100% believe that Kim is been selected, by her DNA, that she was put into this position, whatever that process is, and that she assumed the mantle that was formerly of the master sovereign of the world. From that position, though, she is looking to change the world and give back the asset to people and to the governments, or to the countries. I shouldn't say governments, because USA Incorporated, for example, or any United Nations entity is a company. Their allegiance is to the shareholders, who are not the people in which they are governing. So this system is what we're looking at replacing, and Kim is basically saying, in order to move forward as a country, you must be sovereign country. That makes sense to me, and someone has basically sent me an email about some things that I'd said, and I want to clarify something. If the term master sovereign of the world or supreme sovereign is used to represent Kim, that's basically what she assumed position in, right? That was what she became. Now, my understanding is she wants to, recognize other countries and people as sovereign, and do it on an equal basis, not as a sub-sovereign. The previous system, when the supreme commander, the great white throne, as Tui likes to say, had given sovereignty, he made it as a sub-sovereign to him. That's not what Kim's going, in my understanding of the situation. And this is something we can ask Tank when he gets on. So, but this sub-sovereign position is not something that is what I think that's going on at all. In fact, I know that that's not the case. So, if I made in speaking a reference to that, man, that wasn't what I was trying to relay. So just so everyone knows, it's more to become an equal basis. In regards to Kingdom of Manna, in which they recognized her as the master sovereign, and having the ability to give them sovereignty, in which she did. Once you're sovereign to sovereign, can you say that one sovereign can take away the sovereignty of the other? I would say no, unless you were the master sovereign. So this is but my understanding is that they were not, when they came to this arrangement, there was a deal in place, right? One was protecting Kim. They broke the deal. They were not there to protect her, but rather to receive all of the funds into their new financial system that was being programmed on the George Bush Ranch in Paraguay. They had all the programs working it. Was to move all the asset there, and then to remove her, kill her. So, with basically the intention being not legitimate, then the whole deal was not legitimate. That's my understanding of that. So they have no sovereignty from Kim, though they are many are claiming that that Kingdom of Manna has the exclusive with Kim. So this is not the case. There's only two channels that Kim is working with. That is Thomas and with Tank and their organizations. In each and so anything dealing with the Kingdom of Manna, when I'm open to having the conversation with the people of Kingdom Manna. You're welcome to come on here and discuss this. But I want answers to the questions. I'm very well schooled in a lot of this type of conversation and documents, constitutions, sovereignty. When I read your documents and you say you're registering those tribes, I want to know, what does that mean? Because according to my understanding of the word register, it means to make it an asset of a kingdom. Now, is this not the exact same system that has been there in the past, is where these assets are now registered to the master? Does that mean that they're sovereign? It doesn't sound like that to me. You can please correct me if I'm wrong. And the other is that, you have Kim listed on your enemies list. You're exclusive with her, but you have her on your enemies list. Any trustee of the Manna World Holding Trust prior to 2013. Well, she's been the trustee since 2012. So if that's what you're saying, please explain how she is, number one, you're sovereign. I mean, you're exclusively getting your funds through the Manna World Holding Trust, and now you're also making her the enemy. So please explain that. So if this, the way I see this is, the Manna World Holding Trust worked with a group that she had trusted to set up an interface and a financial system to the world. Turned out that it wasn't really as she was being led to believe in the beginning. It was really a cabal plot. If you're on the George Bush ranch in Paraguay, the Black Dragon, the Pindar, you're on his ranch making programs to make a new financial system. It's not good. It's how much more cabal can it get? So, again, you want to talk about it, people from the Kingdom of Manna, please come on and discuss it. So, anyway. So the sovereignty that Kim had granted, to them and recognized Kingdom of Manna was withdrawn based upon, I believe, and my terminology might be wrong about this, but in fraud, because it was fraudulent the way they came to it. And, well, the deal is done, right? It's based in fraud and people were trying to get you into a position, it was then removed from you, right? Because you didn't come to this to a deal in good faith. So, and even if they had still sovereignty, who am I to deny anyone's sovereignty, right? They're not working with Kim. Kim is the one whose name is on the trust. That I was able to verify. She's the one that's been able to move money. Still. All of last year that I've been able to check, and now. So, who are they? What are they saying that they're doing if they're not working with Kim? If they are working with Kim and Kim is denying it, how is it possible that whatever they're setting up in structure is going to have any validity other than, if we get 51% of all the tribes, we win? No, you do not. No, you do not. You get 99% of all the tribes to agree with you, and you still lose. you don't get a balance of mana on your side just because you've convinced everybody. No, because in the very next day, all of that 99% will just vanish. They realize where the truth is, and then they just all switch. They just, what are you doing? Stop. Now, I know the TUI is working on having a conversation with you about this, giving you, the opportunity to not follow in the path that you've set out for yourself. So I suggest you listen to TUI. Okay. Well, let's move on here. So we covered. I think we covered a lot of that. What I'm going to do, since there's not been much going on in regard to TUI joining us, or TUI is there. Why don't we go into the chat room? We've got 35 likes and 147 watching, 148 watching. Hey, come on, guys! Why are you not putting the likes in? There's only 35 likes. Okay, so let me go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen here. Ooh, wrong screen. Okay. There we go. Okay. The likes are rising. It's up to 52. There's 20 of you got. Hey, come on. Let's get all of these likes up there. I do know if you're watching on a TV, it gets pretty difficult to do the likes, but it is possible. Okay. Let me just try to maneuver this into a position. Okay. Hello, everybody in the chat room. Let's go ahead and go through it. Now, if you have any questions, I will go. I'll go ahead and I'll post the link here after we go through these, and then you can come on. All right. Let's see. What do we have here? Got all of our hellos. Hello, everybody. Hello, Cheryl's. All right. Made it on time. I was like 2 minutes late. Sorry about that. I was trying to get a hold of Tank just before. I like to talk with him just beforehand to see if we, if there's something in particular he'd like to talk about in the very beginning. Okay, Cheryl C. Kent Dunn spoke with St. Germain Funds with 63 zeros, which doesn't exist according to Thomas Williams. As my understanding too, I've also had that conversation with Tank. They said Kim has looked for accounts, can't find them anywhere. So don't know where the St. Germain Trust comes from. I know I've done a little bit of research on the St. Germain, but it doesn't appear that there is any, according to Kim, that there's any such accounts anywhere. So let's see. Hello, Robert. Namaste back to you. Aloha, Judy. You have a unique old soul. Thank you. Midlife housewife life. All right, thank you. I would say I can't disagree. I'm a fairly unique old soul here. I'm definitely back here for a reason. I've got an unusual path. It's not normal in the world. From everything from the very young age, I've been quite on my own path since the beginning, and everything that I've been doing, it leads me to this moment. Always, it's been something to do with making a better system in the world. So from that, I know I have a life mission and I'm on it and I pursue it. Tui told me that's my role. And I said, whose role is it for you to tell me this, what my role is? No, I'm just joking. I was just reversing the joke. See, unique. All right, so let's keep it going here. All right, hello, sovereign peeps. All right, hello. Okay. I saw part 1. Have not seen part 2 yet. Yes, Robert. Yeah, part 2 is the part 1 is stuff everyone who's been paying attention here, they've heard from me, right? So you can skip that one if you like. Go to part 2. All right. So projects have been finalized or still accepting project. This is going to go on for decades. We're not going to have set of X number of projects, say 1,000 projects, 10,000 projects, and it's over. No. We've got the assets of the world to flow back out into hands of humanity. Is there 100 projects right now? Sure. Is there 1,000 projects? I don't know. But there are projects, and after one project, you're done. Maybe you want to do a second project. It's about moving this stuff out into society, into the world, so that we have an economy that's rolling. So we're not going to be finalized anytime soon. So don't worry about that. And my ideas behind a project are do something that is close to your heart. And the very first line of the project is, this is how I'm going to take care of myself. This is how I'm going to take care of my family that's close to me, solve some problems. And then the third line is, and I'm going to do this with all the time I freed up by taking care of myself. I'm going to focus my energies into doing this. And then what are those steps? And I put it this way: if you want to build 10,000 homes for people, whatever the case, that's just an example, and you've never built a home, build your first one. Then understand the process. Doris Newman, she wants to build a veterans home for people that to get them off the street. One facility to help people, right? That's perfect. So if you then, so let's say my brother, who used to work for KB Homes as a project manager, building thousands of homes, if he had the idea of say, hey, I want to build 10,000 homes, it's within his capability to organize and do that. He'd know exactly what to do. So if he wanted to build 100,000 homes, he still would probably know how to do that, right? So you can have a bigger dream, but you may need some smaller steps to get to it. Anyway, that's my take on it. All right. So I've heard too, Coke, I call BS on them. Coke, I don't know. I still listen to all. I don't listen to Drake. I don't know these people. Sorry. Sorry, I skipped this one. I was so heavily involved in the GCR from the side of the historical bonds. I spent like zero time on the dinar things other than getting an article that was about Benjamin Fulford, and it would link me back to something on Dinar Chronicles or something like that. I've heard the name Drake. I don't know Coke, but I don't follow. I never did. If I've heard 20 minutes of a Bruce Big call, that's probably all I've heard. And who else was there? Zorro or whatever. These are, I know of their existence. I have no idea about them. Tank definitely does. It's just kind of funny that Tank and I kind of came together at this point. and found, we're two sides of the same coin here of the GCR, and both, he realized, and took action and left that all behind a while ago. I guess a year and a half, I'm guessing, and I was still looking. I was still in it, but I didn't know what was the reality. This is how it was revealed to me. It was watching Thomas, or on YouTube, and just listening to him. He's a very smart guy, right? Love his perspective on a lot of things and how he lays out the history of things. I love that. And when he was talking about what happened with the trust and downloading funds to the Treasury, and that coincided with things that I knew, said, well, this is very interesting, especially when it's happening, kind of with the heads up. So that's what got my attention to say, well, maybe there is something real here. Being able to verify these things is, again, in my path. I've come across people in my life that I'm able to call upon that will be able to do, and if I ask certain things, can reveal some information. And I was able to do this, even to the point of verifying the name on the trust. So this is something that came to me to know that this was a very important time for me to really focus and let people know that this is not real. I was telling people since October last year that are in my group that I don't believe this anymore. I hear it. I've been probably saying it a little longer before October that this is not real, but that there's bad people behind the scenes, and I'm assured that it wasn't the case. But it comes to a point where you really, when you know you're wrong, you have to stop. You can't just keep going after the same old thing, and be in a good spiritual place with yourself. I mean, you cannot be happy down that other path. If I discover that I'm wrong about something, I will switch. Now, I was switching in a way and talking with my friends is because I wanted them to realize what was going on. I started the series with Tank, it was GCR, the big lie. I wanted to get the information out there, right? And I know that people that I'm working with, it made it hard for them because of my position. And I said, well, what happens if I get the money tomorrow? You don't want it? I said, well, no, you better give me the money. Is because I need to use it because I know what's coming is going to be pretty bad, and it's already over. So if the money comes that direction, it's not a good thing. But if you don't take it, you're not going to have any tools to try and develop some sort of system. So there's a lot out there that is going to come down the line if we did it. But we're already on a different timeline. Things have shifted completely. They've already lost. And one other thing that Thomas had said, I got some confirmation of last night. Breaking news item, right? Thomas said that the Rothschilds are withdrawing from banking. And I got confirmation yesterday from my banker partner in England that this is true. Rothschilds are leaving banking. It's not like they're going to make a big presentation and say, hey, we're out of the biz, right? And so they sold off their trust business. That means they're managing money for others. The way that it was put to me yesterday is that they are old school banking, and this is not how banking is done anymore. So also the younger generation is just not into it. So anyway, that's very interesting, confirmation for me that this is a big change in the world. If you could have told me 10 years ago that the Rothschilds were about out of the banking industry 10 years later, I'd say, how is that even possible? They own the thing. Well, obviously they don't own it anymore, right? They're like the people where their house was foreclosed on and they don't leave. The bank comes to the door and says, "We're not leaving." Bank says, "But you don't own it anymore." It's ours. We're not leaving. So that's what's been going on with the financial system. They didn't want to leave. The people in control want to keep in control. All right, let me go ahead and continue on here. All right, let's see. Ken and Drink have called the RV multiple times, showing you exactly where their info is coming from. Now they called it, and it never happened. So, yeah. Thank you, Cheryl. Okay. Hi, Nate. How's it going? I say hi, Anne. Let's see. Yeah. Yes, you could still submit proposals, and if you do, that your trust is set up, then you can be on creators private network for your project. And the creators private network is how you can find help to point you in the right direction, to get to the right people for information about this or that. You can have a project and not know how you want to get it done, but it's close to your heart. So you've got to figure it out. There's people there to help you. Is Tank looking for artists? I do not know what you mean. Looking for artists. For what purpose is he looking? Let's see. Cheryl was saying, I didn't know Drake was calling himself a Q calling himself a Q. Drake is calling himself a Q? Really? That's interesting. Cheryl answered. So you mean Q like QAnon? Is that what you're until he got his Muggus show? Wonder where his Q ability was when the CIA was lying to him, and he strung us along saying 2 weeks for about 2 years. Yeah, well, he doesn't have that same Q ability if he's because Q is basically laying out stuff and everything is coming up as said. There are some misleading dates that are put out there to get the cabal, in a frenzy, fire off their fake, phony flags, right, that are out there. So this is something that is the Q is spot on. So if someone's doing 2 weeks for two years, you may think there's a problem there. All right. Let's see. I set up a trust because I don't know exactly what I need fully yet and waiting for estimates. Yep. You just have to start working on your project and you're, get at least the basics down of what it's going to cost you. First steps. Okay. I teach mixed media, art, journaling, card making, deco items. The only thing I cannot do is draw very well. I make graphics myself with a lot of different programs, but I'm always starting with some base tool that creates things, and then I take it and I assemble. I'm not a great drawer. Cheryl, Tank can't see these comments. Maybe not yet. Okay. Yeah, and so Coke. Oh, there's the name Coke. X33 report. It's X22 report, SGT report, and American Intelligent Media. I listen to all three of those. So they're all good. I listed them on channels on my Where We Go On We Go All.love website. I'm still not done with that site. So much going on. Hard to get back to finalizing certain things, but I'll get back to it. Yeah, I suspect that everyone's acting very strange, to say the least. Okay, well, I don't know about that. All right, let's skip by some of this. Yes, the Truth, Honor, and Integrity show is also a very good show with Thomas Williams. Go Camelot, first step. GoCamelot.com. That information is also in the description of this video and all the videos I've been doing with Tank. Kim, I will send you an email tonight after we get done here. That's midlifehousewife.life. All right. So say hi for me. I say FYI, solar flare warning for the weekend through Monday. They can knock out your internet, satellites, electronics, so beware. On that note, they may be wanting to put out the communications because of the stuff that's happening with the Mueller report and the information coming out about it. So I think this is some preparatory information out there so when the satellites go dark and there's no communication, everyone knows what it's for. So. The intention was not sovereign. They have no sovereignty until they clean, or rather clear themselves through the lesson that Tui is talking about. I believe you're talking about the kingdom of Manna. Now, oops, I jumped ahead. Where did it go? Yeah, it seems like, it jumped down there quite a lot. It does seem like I'm getting a lot of information that is held up. Boy, it jumped down quite a lot. Okay. I've lost where we're at here. I remember that. Seems like there's things that were thrown in there that I didn't see before. Like, right, Q said, enjoy the show. Yes, well, I'm enjoying the show. I'm always enjoying the show. It's a fascinating time to be alive. So here we go. There we go. All right. There's a flare warning. Attention was not sovereign. They have no sovereignty. Oh, yeah, right. That's basically where we left off. That's right. Dan, sounds like a mess, but I believe Kim will handle it. It looks like it's being handled. Yes. I'm anxious. I don't know what happened with Tank. Since we're an hour into it, let me go ahead and try and give him a call, see what's happening. Let's see. Well, so Barr's statement: no Americans involved in Russian collusion. I assume his own investor will uncover a bit more. Yeah, I would think so. Oh, hello. Just checking on you. You okay? No problem. Well, anyway, we're on. I've been on for about an hour, so I just wanted to check and see if you were going to make it today. Ah, yeah. I see. You're right, but well, yeah. Well, I've been here. Okay, all right. Well, that's a me bad. We said we delay this an hour because of Thomas's show. That's what it happened. So that's why he did not catch it. But all right. Well, he said he's going to join us soon. So we'll see what's happening. So on this, Barr's statement, no Americans involved in the Russian collusion. Yeah, I believe that the other investigations that are going on, Huber and then the other unknown investigator, will also end up coming up with some information about Russian collusion, or at least Ukrainian collusion with Hillary and that side of things. But we'll wait to see. So anyway, so I hear Tank has made it on with us. I was just going over Q&A in the questions on the site. So let me get him over to the Hangout screen. Here we go.
So you're doing the Q&A now? Yeah.
Well, I was going through it because I covered quite a bunch of stuff in the very beginning. I covered information that people were saying about let's say Kingdom of Manna. Some more things come up about that, and so I just put out some of the questions that I had. Like why is Kim on the enemies list? You're claiming exclusivity with Kim. With more, they said more people said. I sent you the email where someone was quoting them saying they have an exclusive with Kim, right? And so I said, well, if you have an exclusive,
yeah, there is some exclusive contracts out there that people did get that were set up for people to try to draw money in for a project. There's various projects like that, but a lot of those that usually when they bring them to me, I check them and Kim has no idea who they are. We attempted to bring funds in through the European European brokers, which is always a giant scandal because they're constantly just laundering money, right? They're bringing money from the off ledger system at Deutsche Bank, which essentially that system really, it's not the real off ledger, right? It's just a ledger. And if it doesn't affect the actual trust, then when that money moves, it's just a mirror. So they can move the money around and create the illusion of money, right? That's why they want financial instruments all the time. They want to take this illusion of money, put it to a financial, trading platform, and then create some kind of credit that looks like, oh, this is the origin of funds, is this trade platform. Right. But all of the trade platforms exist within the algorithm of the trust, and they've all been shut down because no one has access to the real assets, and really trading the assets is how you make the money. So that's why that's
well, let me restate something. What I was saying is that the Kingdom of Manna was claiming exclusivity.
Oh, I'm sorry. I misunderstood. Yes,
yep. And I said that is not my understanding. That the only two channels was you and Thomas through Creation and the People's Club.
Yes, the Kingdom of Manna Kim has not spoken to them since November of 2017, and they are not even a thing because all of their power came from her sovereignty. So she assigned their sovereign authority, and just as easily she dissolved it. So they don't have any authority. Now, that's not to say that they're not a group of people doing stuff. They are that, but that's all they are. And they are no more. They are no more of a kingdom than you and I are together, Dan.
Yeah, well, I
Kingdom of Dank.
The Dank Kingdom. It's like a lot of good buds on that island. So there's another reference that was asked of me was in talking about the situation of master sovereign or sovereign of the planet, supreme sovereign, being granting sub-sovereign status to others. Isn't that the same system that was previously there? And I was trying to clarify. I said, I don't. If I said that, I don't think that's what Kim is trying to do right now. Is create sub-sovereigns, but basically recognize people at an equal basis as sovereign to her. Is that
Okay, so she is not creating sub sovereigns at all. What she's doing is she is acknowledging another country or another individual's sovereignty.
right?
And
Acknowledge.
in so doing, what she is saying is that I am sovereign and I am free, and in like manner, so are you. And they are in turn are acknowledging that same freedom, and she's acknowledging them as equals, like the knights at the round table. In this place, we are all equal. So that is what the idea is. What that term may have come from before. Sorry. What that may have come from previously is that they would talk about um, the previous trustee. There was no one else that was sovereign. There was one sovereign monarch, and as the sovereign monarch, everyone else who had sub sovereign status, inclusive of countries, governments, some governments, not even many, and the Rothschilds. And that's why some people are so afraid of the Rothschilds, because with their sovereignty comes a certain level of authority and power. And so they were commanding that, they knew certain things. They were given access to different technologies, and that made them look like they were gods. And it created a very elaborate front to prevent other people from seeing, who was really, the wizard behind the curtain, right? So,
I got it. All right. Actually, a little other side note. I also wanted to mention Thomas on his program had mentioned that the Rothschilds are stepping down out of the banking industry,
they have
and I
sold their
actually,
trust. Yeah.
yeah, well, more than I think that's more than that. I think it's not just about the trust business, but I think they're literally, detaching from the whole running of the system and everything. So, but I had actually got confirmation of that last night from my banking partner that said that that is true. And but he gave reasons behind it. The reasons were uh, they are doing the old classical banking, and nobody does that banking anymore. So it's like they're past, and also the current generations, the young Rothschilds, are not into it.
That's true. Yeah, that's
So
true.
from that standpoint, it seems like they are withdrawing from the banking altogether. So that seems to be the case. If they're selling off their the Black Forest, you know,
Yeah,
it's an irreplaceable amount of land. That you just can't find that kind of thing in a. So if they're selling it off, they're consolidating. Selling off their chateaus and everything else. Why is this occurring?
in my opinion, because this is the only way they can make money right now, because they don't even own that land. The trust does. So they're selling it because almost by permission, like they're gonna sell it so they can make money to go hide. Because the new system, it and now when I say new system, I'm it is not something that, these really advanced techniques we're using now. Everything we're using right now is completely antiquated by comparison to what is possible. So the new system is what we as human beings all possess within us and are able to bring forth in this new age. And what we create is what the new world will be. And they're probably realizing that this new world is not going to be as comfortable and embracing of being enslaved, right? We're not going to be like, oh, please run things and make us your slave, right? That would be wonderful, right? Like your way of doing things where you make all the money and we just listen to you. That all that stuff has got to end. Media, mediocrity cannot be the ruler of our world anymore. We cannot, it cannot happen anymore. We cannot exalt people for being average and for following orders, right? And then just make excuses why we're not in a higher position ourselves, we're not in a better position to lead. At the end of the day, if you have the best idea and you know how to get it done and you know how to communicate it, you should be leading. You should be, right? You shouldn't be holding your tongue while people who don't have the ability are doing something. Now, in this world that we're creating right now as we speak, we're creating a world where that is empowered, right? And the other thing is you got to be able to take correction. These are all qualities that leaders need to have to go into this world where humanity thrives and we're able to integrate the old world with the new world, right? And I mean, kind of integrating traditional, natural, spiritual values, in harmony with the planet, and also utilizing, technologies that are outside of ourselves to transition, right? Before we jump right into, we're all using, our inner uh, biotech to create stargates and, portals around the planet, right? Let's first start with, making sure that we know how to use our iPhone and develop that as an app that we can use and access our banks and fund projects and things like that. Let's start with the basic things, right? That they've suppressed and kept from us, so that we would all have this dumbed down, limited version. For example, one thing would be great. Let's stop poisoning the water. That'd be awesome. Let's stop poisoning the water. I think that would be a huge advancement in technology if we could just get them to stop poisoning the water.
Yeah, stop fluoridating the water. Stop doing anything to poison the water, the food, and the air. Big steps.
And by the way, I'll say it like this: I completely forgive the cabal, the deep state, the slave masters, and I appreciate them for helping us learn this lesson. Now, that being said, I will never forget it, and we will never have a relationship other than the way we have it now. But I want you to know I don't hold a grudge. I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you. But I'll always be watching out for you, and we'll never give you a dime. Never. We'll never. We will grow the world and enhance and uh, ignite the spirit of all humanity, and they will be exceptional and glorious. And as they realize, as they ascend, just remember you chose to stay in the dirt. You chose that life, and you can have it. By the way, you can have it. But so I'm very, very, very excited about what's going on right now. Did you want me to give you an
Do we
update?
have an update?
Why, yes, Dan, we do. Um,
Good.
So, first, if you remember yesterday, I told you that we weren't clear that Kim and the Pentagon was searching for where the block was. And so, where the block was the FinCEN, right, issue, right? So, FinCEN is the financial enforcement, right? The financial fraud enforcement, right? Which, by the way, you guys suck. You do not do your job. And that's why they're currently shut down. Their whole system is now shut down because that's who was blocking us. So the Pentagon, uh, Kim created a system for them so they could clear their transfers, and they had a 100% success rate. They were able to clear their transfers with absolutely no problem. So now, everybody out there in the deep state world, all you guys right now who think you chose the winning team, I just want you to think about this. If the Pentagon, with all of their military prowess, all of the weight, all of the things that they know how to do, if they were able finally, after you promised them for the past 20 years, they would be able to bring in all this money, and they were never able to do it, and we just brought it in. What do you think's happening right now? We're winning. And by the way, your whole world's falling apart. But remember, you still have Steve Mnuchin. So hold on to that. Hold on to that. Right. Kim also said that Hillary Clinton used to use FinCEN as a piggy bank, her own piggy bank. She would hide all her money there. So that was where they had this, these blockades. So that happened. And then I asked her, did you make transfers for the projects? Right. And she did. And she used the military's terminals, right? Their system that she made for them, right? So she's been able to bring money directly into the banks right now, and they are in those transfers. I would have to believe they came directly from the Pentagon. So if they came directly to the Pentagon and the Pentagon cleared them into the banks, that means we have money sitting in the banks right now. Now they have not credited our accounts yet. So all you bankers out there right now, all you hackers who are at a computer system somewhere and you're thinking, you got to find a way to block this, just remember, if you block a transfer from the Pentagon, I don't care what else you did, that is an act of war.
Well, you better start listening for the helicopters.
Yep. So Kim transferred. She was successful. She said it was 100% successful. She said she still hasn't figured out how to get it past human beings though, in the transfer department. So you know what that means? Human beings working in the wire rooms, in various places around the country. There's not many of them. Really, I know you think that because you have this little cell phone that like is a burner phone, and some scary character called you up and said, "Whatever you do, don't do this, or we'll commit biblical genocide against you and your family." Listen, screw them, screw them. Because if you keep holding back money, your family's better off dead. Because we'll all be dead, and it's going to be the most miserable death you can imagine. So it's better for you just to man up because they don't even have the resources to pay any of their mercenaries to go kill anybody. They've got no power. They are nothing. And the way you take your power back is stop giving way to fear. Do not allow any decision you're making to be made because of fear. And I'm putting that out across the board. Now, I'm telling you, if you had everybody on the planet just stand together and say, we are not going to make any decisions based on fear, we're just going to press, you would be amazed what will happen. Now, so whatever it is that has caused them to block in the past, I am fully confident in my heart that today they realize, nope, we can't do that anymore. This is the Pentagon. The guys with guns and tanks trained all over the world that you have lied to, and you have been actively part of lying to them for years. And while you've been lying to them, you've also used them to start wars, commit genocide, kill women and children, destroy villages. And believe me, I've talked to them. They are not happy about it. So if I was you, I would highly, highly recommend that you make sure that the transfer just clears. It would be in every person on the planet's best interest, including yours. Was that clear, you think? I want to make sure that I'm not pulling any bunches here.
That sounds good. Well, they can also show up in those transfer rooms with the guy in fatigues and big guns, right?
Yeah, I will say that. Hey, look, they were able to do it at SunTrust Bank, right, with fake mercenary, fake badges. I think our military should be able to show up in force, right, and just be like, look, enough's enough. So yeah, but I'll tell you what, I'll bet you they will if they try to block a transfer from the Pentagon. I bet you they will, because there's no country on the planet that can block a transfer from the U.S. military. No one will stop it. No one would get in the way of that because you don't want to have that enemy. So I'm thrilled about that. Is my point, because I started out with military guys, and it seems appropriate to finish up with them too. So I'm happy about that.
And I'm elated to hear that. So indeed. And our friend Tui is online also with us.
Ratu.
Hey, Tank. That's a wonderful news.
Yes, indeed. It's definitely wonderful news.
Yeah, sorry. I just, I want to ask you to just repeat that again, just once more, because I just jumped into the call.
Yep.
Just once more, please.
No, it definitely helps. So, as you know, the Pentagon came over finally, and they had a revelation. They realized what the Chinese elders had been using them for, and how they had been lied to, and they were not pleased about it. And they have currently, finally, embraced that Kim is not the bad guy, and we're not the bad guys, and that they were supporting the wrong team, so they came over to our side. So they were actively looking for Kim had put transfers out, and they were blocked, and so the Pentagon was actively searching for why. When they went to the Department of the Treasury, the the Treasury was basically like, get the blank out of here. That's how they were treated. Which at that point we realized, well, they certainly aren't cooperating with us, right? So that was yesterday. Then they identified that FinCEN, which is it's the financial, what is it called? The financial enforcer, right? Oh, financial crimes enforcement, right? So if there's money laundering, which they do all the time, counterfeit, which they do all the time, um, bringing in assets that don't really belong to them, stealing assets, all the things they do, FinCEN, coincidentally, that's their job to enforce penalties against them. But instead, what FinCEN really is just uh, its own version of an organized criminal faction of the banking network. And Hillary Clinton used to use them as a piggy bank, right? She would put all the money there. So FinCEN actually, as far as enforcement goes, I would imagine it's a bunch of guys. It's kind of like, Tommy the leg breaker who would show up at your house and enforce what the big mob boss said. That's what they really are. They're not about protecting the people. They're about protecting the gangsters in the banking cartels. So, but guess what? Not anymore because they're completely shut down. So, good luck to all you guys at FinCEN. I hope she never turns your system back on because you're useless. And she doesn't need it. Like you don't do anything. You have not enforced a single law. Okay. So that being said, that system got shut down, and the Pentagon's transfers to fund the United States military, it's cleared, so they have their funds clean and clear. And they helped us, and Kim set up a brand new system for them, so it's completely untouchable. It's unhackable. They don't know what's going on. No one else can see what's going on because Kim made it right inside the quantum system. And that same system she used to bring in our transfers today. So she brought those transfers in, and she said it worked 100%, landed directly in the bank. So now our money, again, it's there in the bank. And I would imagine because it came from the Pentagon, that there's some kind of code there where they realize that came from the Pentagon. So if they block the transfers now, if the banks block the transfers now, they are blocking funds that have been transferred to them from the United States military. So for everybody listening, if you work in a bank, if you know anybody who is in that transfer room and has been part of blocking any of these funds, I want you to strongly consider what the consequences of that are. And is there anyone, some random old white dude who called up and made a threat to you and your family or said you're going to lose your great job at the bank? Is it really worth the United States military coming in full force because you blocked a transfer from the United States military? It would be an act of treason that you could not ignore. It'll bring out everything. So you will be caught with your pants down, on the cover of your car, exposed to the world. So please make smart decisions today because we expect this transfer. It should, if they at the bank do their job, our transfer should be cleared by morning, and we should have usable funds that we can put out to projects.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yes. I like when Tui does that, man. I feel a tingle all the way down my spine. Nice. Yes. Tui, I need you to go up into the energy, and I need you to tap on those guys' shoulder and be like, look, tap on their higher selves and be like, listen, dog, we've been doing this enough. You guys lost.
Yeah. Last night, because it's funny you just said that. In the night, I was doing exactly what you just said, and I woke up this morning laughing about rearranging some of the spiritual, I would call the spiritual beings that is part of this agreement, and because a lot of them, have connection to the people, to the human beings on the planet, and I just went up to the high souls and just calmed them down. Just it's let everything happen. It is happen. And I was dreaming, like I was correcting everyone here in my country, uh, doing that in a spiritual level. It's a little odd to actually talk about it, but I was not surprised that you come up with this news today, because that's what the planet is so waiting for. We just behind schedule. but at the right moment, at the right time. That's it's a very big news because it's gonna accelerate from here. I told the chiefs and the elders yesterday that was with me. It's gonna go. It might be, but it will take a lot. It will take a lot of our energy because of what we are going to be actually be involved in and try and accelerate the awareness, the people to be ready spiritually. Now that Kim is almost completing a part in doing this, and we'll have to do our own. And it's not gonna be, it's not, not gonna be a walk in the park because there's a lot of things to do, and we are looking forward to it. We're looking forward to the changes and to all these things that will be happening. And I'm really excited with that news that tomorrow you'll be, if everything goes well, you guys have extra funds to actually start up all the projects that you've been that you approved and all that. You know, I'm thankful. Thank you so much. Right now, all the questions that I needed to ask about Fiji, I've asked yesterday. And according to the like the terminal and to do with the terminal and to do with the banks. I think the same thing that you guys, Kim did with the military will be the same. I mean that might be the same way that it will deal with all the rest of the other countries that will be involved with this project or with the trust. In Fiji, we have, like I said yesterday, our reserve bank. I think the terminal is down right now. The money, the Swift code system has been down for since the time Kim shut it down. So they are not able to send and receive money. And all the time now that they have a liquidity crisis, they because the government have been helped from the Asian Development Bank and the HSBC, which basically came as a revoke of their license, and so they are having problems dealing with currency right now. Right now, they have a meeting in one of the western side of our main island in Vitilevu. They have a meeting with the Asian Development Bank because our government is looking for money because of this economic crisis that are happening. And so yeah, we will just wait and we'll try and learn from what is going to happen, and we'll try and learn from it. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I guess I'm on my own right now. So to re-emphasize, this is very, very, very important for everybody, anybody involved. We got great news. Dan is saying that the Rothschilds stepped down. Awesome. That is amazing news. Not stepped down, but that they're going out of the banking industry. And that's fine. They can go about their way. We don't have to go hunt them down or seek vengeance or anything like that. But humanity has got to be free today. This liberation of humanity has to happen now. It is
Indeed.
there is no longer an acceptable excuse. We have, as a collective, as the Zara
Yep.
collective, Zara El collective, we need to stand up spiritually with integrity and say enough on all levels, with everything that we are. There's nothing they can do if we realize that we possess that power. Nothing. And that's where I feel right now we're at. We are at we don't need to be, the war is over. The war is over.
Indeed.
We can let go of all the things that make us think we've got to fight each other. We are all humans. We're all on the same team. So we've got to find ways. The only war you have left is within yourself, and that is even peaceful. You just gotta find it. give up the power play. There's nobody's going to win. So today is liberation. The money's in the bank, literally. Like, you know, when you say the money's in the bank. Like, that's where we're at. I mean, this is it. This is where we stand up. This is where we have a chance for the first time, where we can access the substance to go create a new world. It's the first time you've got a chance. So get away from the dark side. Quit your job if you're there blocking transfers right now. Actually, don't quit your job. Stay in your job and clear the freaking transfers.
Let the transfer go. Otherwise, the U.S. military will show up with rifles.
I mean, isn't it hilarious? All of these organizations, you know, the financial crimes enforcement. It's like it's so strange. When we hear that, we thought, oh, they're the ones who are making sure that financial crimes are not committed against us. In reality, they are enforcing the financial crime.
Yes.
The financial crimes. It's like, come on, man. What are they enforcing it with? Oh, I forgot. They still have Mnuchin. They still have Mnuchin versus the entire U.S. military, a president who is fearless, and a woman who all of the people at the top of your order, all of them are dead. The people you worship as gods are gone. All of them are gone.
And the Rothschilds are stepping down from banking.
Rothschilds are stepping down from banking. Yep.
See, the tide has shifted. You know, things are going the opposite way.
Everything's going your way. You should probably go play the lottery tonight because it's that kind of day. We're having that kind of day. Everything is going our way.
Oh, fantastic. Oh. I don't know what even to do right now.
That's exactly right. Because freedom is upon us. Freedom is upon us.
Okay.
It's ours.
Well, I guess I need to go take a walk up the mountain.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry. Dan, can you just reiterate what you just said about the Rothschilds? That what they've the position right now.
So Thomas, on not the show he just completed, but the last show, he had made a comment that the Rothschilds are basically stepping down, and I actually took it upon myself to find out from my partner in England, who is a banker and has a lot of good connections, and he said yes, the Rothschilds have been stepping down. In many ways, that he put it in the context of two points. Number one is they do the old style banking, traditional banking, and that style of banking is no longer being done. Second is
wait. Now, by traditional style banking being done, what he's referring to is where we're all slaves. We give them our money. They take it, do whatever they want. That's old style banking.
That's old style banking. Yeah. You know, it's kind of like you know what I imagine in the Federal Reserve, and they want to do all the auditing of the books, right? You know, so we're going to demand an audit. When we get there, we're going to find out that there's no paperwork, that they all just accepted the money and forgot the accounting.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, we got a lot of money over. Oh, yeah, we go put it over there. They're not keeping track of it, right? Because it's just floating into them.
Yeah, they're sitting there like Scrooge McDuck, just jumping in their big vat of money and laughing.
Yeah, Scrooge McDuck. Yeah, that's it. So the other point is that the younger generation of Rothschild, they have no interest in banking and doing it. They're this is a common theme in dynasties, right? Is that the younger generations who end up being spoiled by the lavish lifestyle don't want to work, right? And keeping myotical plans, evil plans in place, and making sure that keep doing evil things is very time consuming. Right?
Yeah.
So they just don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, it's really hard. It's like, if you've ever seen any of these movies, well, it's hard to stay mad at someone. I mean, you ever like mad at somebody, then like all of a sudden you're at a party with them and you're laughing with them, and then you're like, oh wait, I forgot, I'm mad at you. It's like you got to remind yourself to be mad at people. But when you're in love, nobody has to remind you you're in love. When you're in love, every place you go, you walking on cloud nine, people see you like you are in love. I can tell by looking at you, because you're just constantly emanating love. So that's why they can't win, because we're just emanating love. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the words or the methodology or the tactics they use. It doesn't matter anymore, because all we're gonna do is shine and just be ourselves and just be in love and hope. And we want to be in love. We want to help other people. We want humanity to thrive. Who can be against that? Who can be against that? It doesn't. It's just not in style anymore. Evil had its run. It's like bell bottoms. It's not cool anymore. Let it go.
Indeed. I'm very excited for what is happening for the next few days. Excited. Yesterday we after we talked about the monetary systems and structures. There's a lot of ideas coming up, and I told the elders that as it comes, we'll be working together with Kim with the trust to be able to fully understand how we'll be able to open up a terminal, or maybe use the old one, or create a new central bank, and help disperse the money that is allocated for the different projects here in Fiji, and they were very excited. Even though we know that this is going to be happening today, tomorrow, the next few days as it comes along, and I'm lost of words right now, because I'm I'm just going to look forward to how everything comes together, and how 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 we'll, for example, here in Fiji, to be able to be one of the template on doing so the changes within the Pacific, within here, within New Zealand, within Australia, because all of them are facing the same thing as we are doing in Fiji, because of being part of the old corporations that they've been part of, and people are trying to be free. There are people getting away in all these different countries, and they're trying to they do whatever they can to be able to deal with the court system, the judiciary system, and they're coming up with ideas on how to create a new one, or come up with a new way or a new system. So that's one of the most important part that we as chiefs in Fiji are looking at, on trying to recreate a totally new example of how we can actually do everything as a sovereign nation, true sovereign nation, where we're able to create currency that is valued according to the assets that is in our country, and not just fiat currency that is being printed just out of illusion. And because there was some questions about profit and about inflation, and that's just how inflation, and how these things can be controlled if the assets of the country and the receipts of those assets are match, they match each other. And so if that can be if there's a way, I mean, if that is able to be, in a sense, being um, printing too much fiat currency can be avoided, and everything can be balanced, and we'll have to educate everyone. We'll have to share all this with everyone, transparency, which I think is very important for these changes. And the chiefs were saying that there are some things that we're discussing. I told them this is a different time. The freedom of the people is very, very important. They need to know it. If we start doing it in secret, then we'll be doing it just like the way it was the olden times, during the Great White Throne, secretly trying to enslave anyone. So right now, there's in Fiji we have a lot of changes that are happening as well. The military is actually waking up. They they have their own choices according to what to do with the government and all that. We'll be able to we'll wait until we can work together. The government is right now just looking for money to. I mean, it's trying to get loans from the Asian Development Bank, trying to get this economy ready. But yeah, everything is just working together as it's supposed to be. So all we need to do is to know where we fit in and do what we're supposed to do, and let the energy, this element flow, not just within you but outside of you, and recreating the experience that you are here to actually create. And this will give everyone the satisfaction and the fulfillment of the joy of what the knowingness within them that they are doing exactly what they're doing here. And I'm thankful for that, and I'm thankful for this moment, this time. I'm thankful to everyone on the show, to you, Dan, and Tank, to the Manna Trust, to Kim, the team, to everyone that is involved. Thank you, and thank everyone around the world. Um, Everyone that is has this soul agreement and has already got into contact with the trust, with whatever projects that they will be doing in their own different countries. And I hope that in the very near future we'll be able to be working together so that we can create this really big environment where the sovereignty of every individual on the planet will be able to be nurtured and be able to be self realized by everyone, and be able to be nurtured, and they will be able to grow to the fullest potential that they are supposed to be here to express. And so I'm thankful to the people that are on the chat room and watching now and in the future. I know that when this money comes and when everything will flow, it will accelerate everything, especially the spiritual part of it, which is what will be involving as me here in Fiji and all the chiefs that are here. We'll be doing this in a very accelerated way. We'll be celebrating. I told the chiefs we'll be celebrating for 3.5 years to 7 years, because that's what this big celebration is all about. The big change. It's not about creating new projects. It's all about celebrating from the end of slavery and the new expression of freedom, the sovereignty that is within us, and how it can actually be expressed to its full potential. And yeah, so I'm thankful for this high spirits that is in today, and it's wonderful to be and amazing to be in this time. And I do look forward to the next few days on all that is going to be happening. Whether it's going to be, whatever it's going to be for the transfer of funds and all the people expressing and the growing of this from a very small point in time, from this moment, like a small seed, to a very big tree in the future. And so, thank you so much. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Tank. Thank you for all the time that you guys have been, you used up, and no one knows the amount of sacrifice that you guys have been doing. And that goes to everyone else that is listening in. And no one knows that the fifth element within you is doing what it's supposed to do to actually help this planet. And so, just me here sitting down and saying it out, it's just, just to confirm these sacrifices, and tell you that it's not in vain, that it's just the moment that is coming in that will explain itself as we go along, and and we will all learn and we will all grow from it. And yeah, so nothing more that we can say from Fiji. We have just love and blessing to everyone, and thank you so much for everything that all of you individually and as a collective have done. Thank you.
Thank you, Tui. Well, this is fantastic. We're already in this feel the change where we have really the time for the money to flow. and to have the U.S. military on our side, Rothschilds leaving the business. This is amazing. We're at an amazing point in history. So, yeah, I need to take a walk up the mountain.
Indeed.
I'll,
I agree.
I'll go to the waterfall and just reconnect and re-express the energy of gratefulness and thankfulness for everything that has been happening. And so just go and rejuvenate myself and
That's
regenerate.
good idea. I'll go
Yeah.
to hot springs, and I'll
Yes.
I guess I'll go to the bridge. I don't even know.
Don't worry. I will, like I said, these few months, few days in the future will be very, it will be a miracle because there will be some things that has never before done. We will be able to do it. We'll be inviting everyone, everyone that's on the show to this celebration in Fiji, and and so it's not gonna be a long wait for that moment. So yeah, do look forward to seeing all of you.
So I guess tomorrow we'll find out if there's access and what our next step is. I'll be going to Fiji, visiting.
As soon as what you guys, as soon as the project's gone through, there'll be a very high probability that we'll be able to do the same thing in Fiji, and we'll be able to try and alleviate the problems that are going on now. I know that Tank has said the funds that are allocated for things for all the different part of the big program for what it means for a nation to be sovereign. That's what Kim and the team will be the role to be able to do that and to be able to fulfill what sovereignty means for not just a person but for the whole nation. And so in Fiji we have a lot of banks all over the world that has been borrowing money. I'm sure that not just Fiji but all the different countries around the world, and because of the old way of debts and the loans that has been taking place and then that has been taking place for the past 50, 60, 70 years, and how it was designed to actually get the assets of all these different countries. So Fiji has has loans and has debts to certain big banks, the HSBC, World Bank, the Federal Reserve, the World Bank, the IMF, the Islamic Development Bank, the Vatican Bank. There are some of all these these debts that were still there, still binding. And maybe when the time comes, we'll be talking with you guys, with Tank, with Kim, on the way forward on how this can actually be how the nation of the Vano of Koviti can be sovereign. And so we do look forward to that moment, to that day, that we'll be able to have that, to be able to have that communication and converse and to the way forward. So, just on the news that is happening right now, thank you so much, everyone, for everything that you've done. Yeah, and so, love and blessing from Fiji. Take it easy.
All right. Later, dude. All right. You done, Dan? I'm gonna say peace out from New York. We're out.
It sounds good to me. It's it's a good place to leave. We covered a lot anyway, but I'll look forward for what we're going to be doing next week. Fantastic. So, anyway,
Yes,
share the video. Share the video.
All right. Cool.
Please
Bye,
do.
everybody. Have a great night.
All right. Good night.
Take it easy, everyone.
Bye bye.